I'm doing a refret. I've already pulled the frets out. There was buzzing problems in this area, and when I straightened my neck out, I discovered that there was definitely something going on here. A lot of people assume a neck bends the same way. Always put the neck under stress, include the truss rod, and get your neck as straight as you can, and then flatten it. Okay, when I flatten my fretboards, I use two things. These are both 16-inch radius bars, one short, one long. I use the short one to work the hump down. Then I true it up with the long one, starting with 120 grit and work my way up to 800. Okay, so once I get my fretboard leveled, I also clean out all of the slots from the previous gunk. Do not put in larger fret tangs unless you have to. I'm going to be refretting with 4080 Jessica fret wire. But now that I got the fretboard retrued, I put my weights back on it, straightened it up, played with the truss rod to make sure that I do have a straight fretboard, and we do. But remember this, you're going to treat this as two fretboards. Nut to the body joint to here, because you want a little bit of a fall off. So at this point, I am now ready to prep the fretboard for frets. So remember, you got to just make sure everything is in line, straight, and no humps. So here, I just used an X-Acto blade, and you can see I kind of changed the point. I can scrape all the crud out of the slots. So I'm going to clean my slots up, and once I get my slots cleaned up, they're going to get prepped for frets. And what I'm going to do is I am going to bevel the edges just a hair. Okay, as I said earlier, I use a pillar file. This is my favorite file for this kind of work. Safed edge on both sides. I have a small cutting edge. It's not very large. And all I want to do, I set that into the slot and I gently go across, because what I want to do, I am chamfering the slot. So you can see I just broke these corners a little bit. That's going to afford me the opportunity to lead in for the fret tang and to give it a little support upon removal in future refrets. Okay, the fretboard is now ready to go. I like to use brushes to clean out all of the junk. I've already scraped all of the slots out with this little X-Acto blade. I put a little bit of 3-in-1 oil on the fretboard. Martin, that's where I learned to do that out at Martin. You can see now where there was some previous damage of the previous refret. I'll address that later. But now I'm getting ready for fretting. So now I'm going to prep my frets, get the frets in here, and I will use Type Bond Original just to drop on each end of the fret slot. I also will double check that the fret slots are deep enough to accept the fret tangs. That's very, very important. And now my straight edge is on here. There's no rocking. I have a little bit of fall off right here, which is what I want. And you see this spinning? It is spinning right here between the 11th and 12th fret. That's fine. I just want the fall off from here down. Okay, I buy fret wire in rolls, and you can see how big this is. That's about a 20-inch radius. All right? Right here, you can see that's about a 20-inch radius. When I'm done with it, I want it to be about 12 inches because that way it fits into the neck and it holds the fret ends together. This is called a fret bender, and I can put my fret wire in there and that will set that to that radius. So now I'm getting ready to do the fretting, and you'll see how I have this set up so that I can get all of my frets in nice and neat. All the slots have been cleaned out, and this is now ready for fret wire. Okay, my basic tools that I use for fretting, I had the weights and I had my straight edge to adjust my fret neck with the truss rod wrench. When I go to apply the frets, you can see I've now changed. I have my fret wire bent and ready to go. This little tool will be self-explanatory. I'm going to use that when I go to work and put the frets in on the fingerboard extension. You can see I have this fret buck so I can hammer on here. This is a cobbler's chasing hammer, and this is by far my favorite fretting tool of all times. My pillar file and my flush cut fret nippers. So now I'm going to get ready to start tapping in frets. So as you can see, I'm ready to do my fret work now. And I have a glue bottle, I have paper towels, I have water, and I have my hammer, and I have my thumper. So I just want to show you what I do to get started. 2 little drops of glue. Take a piece of fret wire. I set this into the slot and I kind of push it in with my hand. Then I take this little piece of brass and I set the ends. You can hear it getting solid. Okay. And that, I over tapped it, and that can cause that to straighten out. Not a big deal. So don't overhit. And now I'm going to tap in. So you want to see, you don't want to overhit. And I'm basically dropping it on there. All right. So now you can see I prep multiple fret slots. I'm ready. When I'm actually doing this, I'm going to put a couple of frets in at a time. And it's very important. You'll hear me give that a good tap. And you can hear it seating. All right. Now, once I get over the neck block, I'll be able to take the buck out. And then you'll be able to see how you can fret when you're in a, I'm going to call it a free state on the neck. So. Now that one, I hit too hard and it popped up. So I'll pull him out and him I'll have to replace. So things like this will happen and don't panic. It's just the way that it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give myself a little extra fret and I'll be able to work this a little bit easier. Now watch how this will go in. Now I'm just going to work each end and I'm tapping down. Now I'm setting the middle first instead of the ends. And that's how you do that. Okay, so you can see 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 7 frets are in. And you can see that they're seated, all right? And that is how I put them in. Now I'm going to do the rest of the neck. And this will go a lot easier than over the top here because this is a little bouncy. But once you get over here, the hammering is a lot more efficient. Now, I'm going to be working these upper parts of the neck now. And just so that you can see my methodology for that, I'm going to do like 2 or 3 here so you just get to see how I do this in production. Okay, just a drop of glue at the ends. You don't really need to glue the whole fret slot. I mean, there's times you do, but this thing is full of dust. I scraped it all out. It's nice and clean. I know my frets are in good shape. So now I'm going to, for sake of the video, and I can't work normally, I'm going to put this over here. And now I can tip tap. Oops. In there. And this is how I normally fret, only I generally do this more freehand that I can work. But since you want to see what I'm doing, here's how I normally do it. And now I generally use this up in the air more. watching how my barbs seat, and they sealed perfectly. Nip, 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 nip. Pay attention to where the cutoffs go. Boom. Now it's so important, all that prep work that I did to the fretboard before I even put a fret in is for this. That's my fret, no high frets. See this? There's one little one. So we're controlling how much fretwork I'm going to have to remove later. So the better you prep it, the less material you'll have to remove later. Okay, all of the frets have now been installed. And you can see, doesn't look too bad. I shouldn't say it looks pretty good. When I look down the fretboard, I know the cell phone kind of picks up the wrong, doesn't always pick up so you can see so well. But you can see the reflection of the frets. They're nice straight lines. So the frets went in reasonably well. There's very little rocky going on. A couple here and there, which is to be expected. But if you do a fret job and this thing's going tippy-tappy, tippy-tappy, you are not doing the prep work that you need to. Okay, now before I do the actual fret leveling, I'm checking this out, and it's very difficult for you to see the edge, but I can tell you that we are nice and flat. You can see it's not rocking anywhere. So that fret plane for doing the final fret dressing is going to be very easy to do. And in the end, that's going to make your fret work so much easier. Remember, all about the prep.